How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RuffledRowlit, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Today, we're going to be covering a theory. Wow, I was about to go into the rumor suggestion straight away, but no. We're actually covering a theory today, guys, and I want to go through it really, just solidly and look through it, what it has to say, because it was sent to me by a viewer by the name of A Theory Shower, so thank you to you, my dog, for sending this my way. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And it's a pretty interesting theory because it goes through, like, what the evil team could be like in these games. So it is a theory, do remember, it's not a rumor, it's not a leak or anything like that, it's just a theory by a viewer, so please keep that in mind. I thought we'd go through it here in the video and talk about it, and I'll give my opinions, my thoughts, as well as my own kind of, like, things that I've noticed when it comes down to, theories and that sort of stuff about the evil teams, and let's just get into the actual information, shall we? So here's where we start, guys. So again, thank you for sending this my way, I appreciate it, dude, and here's what we start off with. Which is theory revised, and of course, it's been, reworked a little bit, which I appreciate. But here's what he says, though. Well, I think we'll have two evil teams, Neon, led by Caesar, and one whose name I can't predict, but let's call them Team Industry, led by Toynbee. Okay, Toynbee. Okay, I'm not sure what that means. Industry is, of course, to represent the industrialization. Toynbee is the economist who first started using the term of industrialization in Britain. So, who is Neon? Why do I think they don't represent a change here like some have predicted? Some saying it's connected to the conquest of Britain by the Romans. And who are their leaders? Well, to put it simply, the name Neon itself, I can't really explain why I'd put as the defensive team, but it ties into the name Caesar. Other than the fact that the shield represents Pokemon Shield is a shade of neon, I don't really have much on it. However, notice of how the neon color fits both the shield and Sobble. The guard of the old times in theory, this theory, over to where I have a little more substance to this team being the protecting team. Caesar was translated as being known, okay, not the name Caesar, and this is why I think it means it represents the king or leader of the past / monarchy, not necessarily a king of Galar, just someone who wishes to keep the ways of the old and goes by the name Caesar or king. But that could also be the case. For those who aren't aware, the word Kaiser or emperor derives from Latin, Kaiser being the Germanification of Caesar, alright? And emperor derives from the imperator, which was a military leader in the Roman Empire. To put it simply, this is a team that hates the industrialization, led by military means, sent by the Kaiser / king, who could either be actual royal guards or simply people dressed and acting in a military-esque fashion. Similarly, the team to Team Aqua, they'd perform, though that word, like actions in order to halt the progress of industry. Alright, something which would make them widely hated, but would also draw the support of fanatics. Their leader would have a team based entirely around natural Pokemon, likely a lot of grass types, but possibly some fossil Pokemon as well. That'd be pretty cool. So what about a Team Industry? Well, I think they'd be the first team to be introduced. In fact, they'd appear in the very first time, being for industrialization and against the views of the old times. They'd threaten farmers, etc., to move into the city. Of course, a certain protagonist would stop this. The leader, Toynbee, would be a fanatic with a team entirely based around industrial-esque Pokemon, believing the Pokemon that don't adapt to the new world are inferior. Would also be a great way to introduce a form of armored Pokemon. I'll discuss this in a second. As this group spreads fear outside the region, we'd see a growing hostility between city people and people in the countryside, or Englishmen versus Scots. That's an interesting way to put it, I will say. It's a way interesting way of putting it. Kind of intriguing, but I guess we can continue here. Which would be used as an explanation for why each team manages to come up with a lot of new members. Alright, fair enough. Now, where does this lead us story-wise? Well, now I can't say too much about the exact events, but I believe that each team will catch one out of the 2 box legendaries each, in order to defeat and catch a dragon, possibly connected to the original dragon, which they believe will let them control the region. Ultimately, they'll fail to catch the dragon because they squabble against each other, and the dragon cannot be defeated using just one of them. You alongside the champion of the region, who is possibly someone connected to Lance from Johto, seeing as Galar seems to be wildly based around dragons, which wouldn't be surprising. We are literally going to a region based in the UK, and the UK has, a lot of history, mentions dragons and whatnot. I mean, Wales's flag literally has, like, what, a dragon, wyvern, or whatever on it, which is intriguing. So, yeah. Where was I though? Let's see. Champion was connected? Let's see. Johto, seeing as Galar seems to be wildly based around dragons, it wouldn't be unreasonable to think that the champion was connected to the dragon champion lance. Fair enough. Let's see. So region show up, and the champion scolds them while praising you for your hard work, much like the scenes before entering Giratina's dimension into Pokemon Platinum. This leads to the team leader realizing that balance between the Sword and Shield, between progressivism and conservatism, industrialization and naturalization, and finally between the two dogs and the dragon is incredibly important. The now exhausted wolf Pokemon weakens the dragon with a final attack before you step up and fight it. The two teams are disbanded, and the legendary wolves are released to roam the land, or rather to go back to their homes, where you'll be able to find them post-game, which would be cool. Before I summarize, I'd like to discuss armored Pokemon, the connection to the teams, and why I believe the team industry's leader to be the one who introduces armored Pokemon. Now, I like where this theory is going, and I think it's kind of intriguing if this is how it plays out. Though I'm not really sure myself personally. I'm starting to feel more like we're gonna just get like some sort of like group of like, you know, Vikings, you know, running around in this region, just being, you know, the evil team or whatever. That's kind of what I'm starting to feel. But I mean, who am I to say? Either way, where was I? So, we're right down here. Okay, so armored Pokemon. I believe there will be two types of, or two sets of armors for Pokemon. One is the, okay, well, I'm not sure if those words are really the ones to be used here. I guess a sword and shield form, my dude. Instead of this, I don't know, man. Let's see, but yeah, wait, did I just remove this? Cancel that. No, but, personally, I don't think this is what they're going to be called. I'm not sure what just happened there on Google, dude. But I don't think that would be the proper way to proper terminology. I think we're gonna get armored forms definitely in these games, based on the fact that, you know, there seems to be even hints from like the Pokemon Company for that. I think the more likely thing to happen is we're gonna get sword and shield forms, right? Two different forms for sword and Pokemon Shield. You know, Pokemon Sword, Pokemon Shield, for different forms for those different games, right? You know, Pokemon Sword will have like, oh, you know, we'll have sword forms for certain Pokemon, and those will just be armored evolutions in some form or another. That's what I'm starting to think. Now, these could be divided between two different groups of Pokemon, or it could be two different sets of armor for the same Pokemon group. The sword, I guess, set of armor would be the one Team Neon uses. It strengthens the stats of the Pokemon by reinforcing its already strong stats to give us, for example, extreme sweeper Pokemon or extremely tanky Pokemon, etc. This set's designs would be based around a medieval knight's design with a sort of chainmail and armored plates. These armor pieces would be relics from the past, and likely from the war with Kalos. Okay, so see, this is the thing, right? The Kalos thing, I'm still wondering. I think we can all assume that, you know, Galar and Kalos were the two regions that were against each other 3,000 years ago. But we still don't have proof of that, right? That's the most disappointing part. We still don't know exactly. So the defensive armor, or the shield armor, set of armor, would be the one Team Industry uses. It strengthened the stats of a Pokemon by reinforcing its weaker stats. This would give us a well-rounded Pokemon which can fit any role. For example, you could make Pokemon who's normally special sweepers into Pokemon who can use any form of move decently. But of course, it would be at a cost of pure attack power. This is the armor design we see in the professor's lab, and was likely stolen either from her or another lab. Evil teams are notorious for stealing stuff in these games, after all. Yes, that's true. They pretty much are. I mean, that's literally their only job, is to steal stuff from, like, professors and trainers. I mean, isn't that kind of like what all the evil teams in Pokemon do? They literally just take other people's shit and just be like, skedaddle, skedoodle, or no, it's more like hippity hoppity, this is my property, right? That's how the evil teams in these in these games work. Hippity hoppity, or skippity scoppity, hippity hoppity, this is my property. You know what I mean? That's how they go for it. So yeah, I don't know. It would make sense though, dude. So you could see saying here that there will be these would be represented by the little icon we see outside the gyms and in the Sword and Shield logos, with the red representing I guess, progression, or I guess aggressiveness or that sort of stuff, and kind of like the sword armor, and then the blue being the more defensive-esque armor, which I think makes sense. To summarize, we have two evil teams. The story revolves around the past versus the future, which I think is something these games definitely will do. The story will try to tackle more than just good versus bad and explore subjective morality, like Gen 5 did to some extent. We will hopefully see armored Pokemon, but they not all be the same stat-wise, I guess is what it's meant to say. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for the theory itself. Now, I like this theory. No, I personally don't agree with, you know, the Caesar Neon team thing being a part of it. I do think two teams definitely, one looking towards more of the past, one looking towards more of the future, you know, existing, you know, against each other in this region. I think it's a highly possible thing for sure. There is also a possibility we want to get any, you know, any sort of team in these games. There is a chance for that. You never know how they can shift things up, but I think that's the least likely thing, though. I do think we're gonna get. I mean, I'm hoping for a Viking, you know, evil team. They're just kind of just like there to like plunder and not really there to, you know, have some grand plan. But if we do have to have, you know, some sort of teams that are going for a grand plan, then I think two teams would be great to have in this region. You know, two teams that have grand plans. One is for the monarchy, wanted to keep the monarch, while the other side is for more for like, oh, we want democracy and we want to change things, right? Kind of how, like, you know, you had the, you know, England wanted to keep, you know, back in the day when they colonized the Americas, right? The England wanted to keep the monarchy, right? While the Americans were like, see, you're giving us too many taxes, like too many taxes, you British people, and your king doesn't feel like our king, so you know what? We're just gonna split apart. We're just gonna split. I mean, you're not giving us any options. We're gonna split apart. So, you know, I mean, that basically, you know, started the American, you know, Revolution and whatnot, and you know that happened. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of like go a little bit with that and have like, you know, a, you know, internal struggle between those who want to keep the monarchy while those, you know, other side doesn't want to do that. So I would love to see if that's what we actually do get, though. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the video, then down below, comment hashtag my property, or skip hippity hoppity. This is my property. Do that with a hashtag, okay? Hashtag hippity hoppity. This is my property. If you made it this far into the video, if you did, then do that down below. But yeah, honestly, I do like this theory though I don't think that neon rumor is real. The one with the Caesar and whatnot. I don't think that one is real. It's an old rumor, and I think that was pretty much, you know, it was just kind of run down a long time ago, and I don't really think it has much value to what we see here today. So, I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. Either way, though, thank you so much for watching. My name is RuffledRowlit. Have yourselves a great day, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.